I am Chef Ashley Shep, and today we're going to make a quick after school snack. You can have it for lunch or dinner, and it's everybody's favorite pizza. So we're going to hop right in. I'm going to go ahead and add a second screen on here so you can see what I'm making at the same time as I am making it. So let me switch real quick. So when you are thinking about your favorite pizza toppings, that's something you can create at home as well. So don't feel like there's any rules. Don't feel like there's anything that you have to, that it has to be cookie cutter or a certain way. This is a personal experience. And so I call it my personal pizza. All right, I'm going to switch my mic so we can dig in. All right, so you have the view of what I'm going to be making here, and you'll be able to see me and see my hands at work at the same time. So for our ingredients, we of course are going to start with our crust, and I'm using a simple one that I love, and it's called Naan, which is bread. It just means bread. So you can find this at your local store, and it's basically Indian bread. And I took one out of the package so you can just kind of see it's some of the most delicious bread I've ever had. This one's already pre-cooked, so we are just going to use this for our dough, just to kind of give you another look. This is almost as big as my head. You can, of course, use keto bread. You can use cloud bread. You can use whatever kind of crust that you would like, totally up to you. And then we're going to also use some just pasta sauce, keep it simple. And this is tomato basil pasta sauce. And so it's out the jar. If you want to make it yourself, that's fine. But I know sometimes you don't have time for that. So I figured I would just use jarred pasta. And we're of course going to add seasoning, so we won't have to worry about making sure it tastes the way it needs to taste. So this is a half a cup. You could use a third of a cup if you want to do less sugar instead. And you can also do no sugar added marinara sauce instead. I also, of course, have mozzarella cheese. You can use whole milk mozzarella cheese. You can use skim mozzarella cheese. Either option, whatever works for you. If you're vegan, you can use vegan cheese. Daiya is a brand that actually melts really well for vegan cheese, so you can try that out. This is a third of a cup of cheese. I have some tomatoes. I'm a tomato lover, so I'm going to add those on there as well. I've got some leafy greens, some spinach. We're just going to kind of rip those up really rough. And then I'm also going to add some banana peppers and olives. These are kalamata olives. For me, I'm going to be making a Greek pizza, and we'll talk about different pizza combinations that you can make once this gets in the oven. And if you hear that ticking in the background, I have my toaster oven on. So this is an excellent option for your kids. If you're like, I don't trust you with the oven, not quite sure about that. Using the toaster oven is a little safer and less risky. Of course, you still want to supervise them depending upon their age. And then we also have some basil and oregano. And I'll probably also sprinkle on some Italian seasoning as well. And in the Italian seasoning, it has basil, it has oregano. Some blends will have rosemary. Some will have sage. It just depends on the one that you have. Not necessary, optional. And for all of these ingredients, these are just things that I'm using. Don't feel like you have to use the same exact ones. So we're going to go ahead and build our pizza. Of course, we're going to start with our sauce. So we're just going to spread that out. You could also add a little bit of olive oil on this step if you'd like to. Garlic is another good option on this step as well. Just make sure it's finely chopped. Or if you're a garlic lover and you want to just eat it whole, that works too. So I use probably about a quarter of pasta sauce. You can see I have some left. So that is kind of a personal preference. Some people are super saucy. Other people are like, I just like a little bit. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to add our cheese. And funny story, one time I was making this, I added all of my toppings and then entirely forgot about my cheese, but I still ate the pizza anyway because it was good. So, and this was a third of a cup of cheese. And then you just continue to add the rest of your toppings to your likings. For these, I didn't measure because it kind of just depends on what you like. This is probably about a half of the tomato, of a Roma tomato. That's the kind that I prefer. You can use whatever kind of tomato you like. And then getting some leafy greens in there. For these, we're just, actually I'm gonna wait to add those other. Let's add our thicker ones instead. Doing kalamata olives, because like I said, I'm aiming for a Greek pizza. I could have added feta cheese to this as well for some extra calcium. But I like to use what I have on hand, and these are all the things I had on hand. And banana peppers. Lots of colors. That's something that will make this attractive to your kids, is the more colorful you can get, the better. All right, so I'm gonna sprinkle on my seasonings. So this was that basil and oregano. And I might save some cheese to add on the top as well. All right, so for this, I'm just gonna rip them. You could chop them if you like. You could put them on whole. For me, I like kind of just pulling them apart. And this is something that your kids could help out with too. Or if you're a kid watching, this is definitely something that you could do. Very quick and easy. And I might need to get some more cheese. So this is a third of a cup. I might want to do maybe a half a cup instead. And one thing I like to add is pesto. And pesto is essentially a mix of pine nuts, Parmesan, basil, and it depends on what kind of pesto you have. But totally optional. This is just kind of a little Mediterranean Greek style thing to add on top. And there's my pizza. I'm gonna get some more cheese. But so I'm gonna put this in the oven. And let me add some more of my seasonings. That is key. And get some more cheese. Wasn't anticipating that I need this much. Right. So with this, you can add pretty much whatever combination that you would like. It is totally up to you. Don't feel like you have to, don't feel like you have to be trapped in certain parameters. Whatever kind of ingredients you like, go with those ingredients. This is your personal pizza. You could also do a family style one. And so you could do half one style on one side and then half of another style on another side. Totally up to you. All right. So I'm going to stick this in our toaster oven. And I lined the toaster oven with foil. So that is ready to go. If you're putting this in the regular oven, you of course would want to use a flat pan. You could do a cookie sheet. Totally up to you. Gonna slide this off and into the oven. And right now I have it on 400. You could do 450 if you wanted it to cook a little faster. Really, you're just wanting the cheese to melt, essentially. That's really your goal. I didn't put anything on there that really needs to be cooked per se, because it was just the veggies you can eat raw, the cheese you can eat raw. So it doesn't have to be something that you have to cook. And so that's why it makes it a really nice option for a snack or a lunch that you could have, because it's literally been probably about 15 minutes. And some of that was just me explaining things and introducing myself and stuff like that. And so let's get back to that while that's cooking. Like I mentioned before, I am Chef Ashley Shep, and I'm based in the Atlanta area. I help busy moms get dinner done faster with quick, healthy, and tasty meals for their families. And the reason for that is because we have extremely high rates of generational diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure in our students and our kids. And what we're finding is that a lot of that is actually not generational. It's more so situational. It's more so habitual because of having difficulties with access to certain foods. There's food deserts that exist, unfortunately, where it's hard to get fresh produce in some areas. And so I help to make it easier for people to find ways to get access to that food, or to have meals that are easier to cook and that don't take a ton of time. Because at the end of the day, after you have worked, you're picking up your kids from your different activities. You really just don't have time to really think about what's for dinner. And so that's what my focus is on, that I help people figure out what to eat. And so if you wanted to do your own variations of this recipe, there's a lot of different ways that you could do. So like I said, I'm gonna hold this up again so you can see, stone fire naan, which just means bread. And they have a whole wheat version if you're somebody who would prefer that option. This is actually the garlic one because I'm a garlic lover. You can also use a frozen pizza dough that's more widely available. You can use cloud bread if you're somebody who wants to do keto options. If you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to do carbs at all, you could turn this into a salad instead of having it as a pizza. Of course, you would leave off the marinara sauce and things like that, but adding in your own kind of ingredients would work perfectly fine. But if you are somebody who's like, I'm trying to watch carbs, you do want to kind of consider having balance in your meals. And so if you're somebody that is generally not a carb eater, having something like this once in a while isn't going to completely throw you off course with your eating habits, because it's important to eat all of the food groups and not necessarily eliminate them. So if I were doing a different version of this pizza, I could think about what are some of my favorites that I've gotten from restaurants. So if you order a pizza for delivery, think about the ones that you consistently order. So maybe you're meat lovers. So you could do some Italian sausage on there. With that, you would want to cook it ahead of time, and probably get the crumbles for the Italian sausage. You could get sliced ones as well. Some real pepperoni and salami, things like that. But you would want to cook the Italian sausage ahead of time and then drain it because it will have a little bit of grease with it. And then that you would just add it like any of your other ingredients. So olives would be great on that. If you're somebody who likes a little bit of spice, you could do some pepperoncini on those. If you're a kid and like, I don't want all these different ingredients, I just want my pepperoni and cheese, that's an option too. If you're a parent and you're trying to get your kid to eat more vegetables, this is an excellent way, this is an excellent way to get them to eat more vegetables because it's covered in cheese. And it also is a compromise. And so I also help moms help their picky eaters to be able to be less picky, for lack of a better phrasing. And part of that is just making sure that there's not pressure around food. So if you have a kid who is refusing to eat certain things, you just want to make sure you present it in a variety of ways. So if they are not eating a certain food, trying it on pizza might be a good option because it's something they probably are already familiar with and probably already like. And then it's less of a risk because it's tied to something that they know and like. Another option is to make it so that it's in a different presentation, similar to putting it in pizza. So if you're thinking about like sweet potatoes or butternut squash, maybe instead of baking them like oven roasted sweet potatoes, if they don't like that, which most kids do because they're kind of like hash browns, maybe you mash them instead and then add some cinnamon and some butter and just make it so that it's in a different texture, because for a lot of kids, texture is what kind of holds them back from trying new things, and adults too, if I'm being honest. So other ingredients you could add to your pizza, getting back to that: mushrooms. You could add any kind of bell peppers. I did have one I was going to add, but decided not to add it in at the end. I decided not to add it again. And experimenting with other types of greens. So like arugula is another good option to add to this. It has a slightly different taste and texture as well. So think about what kind of combinations, like I said, that you like from your local pizza parlor and just go wild. Don't feel like there's any restrictions. It's something that you can easily do with your family. You could put the kids in charge and let them do it and let them be in charge of dinner for the night so you don't have to worry about it. So, all right, let's check and see. Okay, so my my cheese is a little melted. And what I could do is, at this point, it's been there probably about 3 or 4 minutes. I could switch it to broil. And what that's going to do is it's going to get a little crunchier, a little crisper. For this type of bread, it's very soft. It's very pillowy, which is why it's one of my favorites. And so if you're somebody who would prefer to have a little bit crunchier, if you're like a crunchy pizza person, then you would want to leave yours in there a little bit longer. So, all right, let's check and see. Let's go and see what it looks like. And if you're a kid doing this, make sure you have adult supervision and some oven mitts to help you. All right, let me switch back to my other camera so you all can get a better look. Moment of truth. All right, so we got our finished product, our pizza. So on here, like just to recap, we added in, we have banana peppers. Sorry, I don't want us to slide off. We've got banana peppers. We have some spinach. Let me pin that one instead so y'all get a better look. There. Okay. So we got banana peppers, spinach. Added some pesto. We have some kalamata olives, which are Greek olives. And we got some tomatoes. And then our seasonings, we added some basil and oregano. Fresh basil is also a great option for this, but it's a little strong. So you want to make sure if you are putting that on there that you're just doing it in moderation if you're not somebody who is super in love with basil. I'm in love with basil, so I would add a lot of it. But so here's our pizza. I hope that this is something that you will give a try because it's actually one of my favorite things to make for a quick, healthy lunch. Thank you again. I'm Chef Ashley Chef, and you can contact me at Chef Ashley Chef on all social media and chefashleychef.com. Thank you. Have a good one.